Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to FTB Skies. We're currently working through a little bit of stuff. I spent a little bit of time doing a very small amount of, well, sifting and whatnot, and we're going to continue to kind of check out this pack and see what it has to offer for us. So last time we got, well, a somewhat basic system going, and all I've done pretty much is taken a little bit of the cobblestone that we had and smashed it into, well, gravel and into dust so that I am able to do a little bit more fooling around. So we now have tomato seeds, we now have flax seeds, cocoa beans, pasture seeds, cool stuff. So let's go ahead and knock out a few more of the quests that are available. One of the things we did get in between episodes was that one, which we didn't get, or I should say between episodes, at the end of last episode. Anyhow, let's go back up here. We'll take a look at a little bit of this stuff, and then we might start working on some other things. My major interest right now is going towards getting liquid fire. I mean, I guess we can get into this as well once we get there, and we may play with these in a little bit. I really, really, really want liquid fire because that means I can stop making cobblestone in the way that I'm making cobblestone, and it's quite a pain in the tail to do. So, anyhow, we should be able to get some redstone dust, which will give us that. We don't necessarily need, and the greenest thumb with a golden egg and a pasture seed. So let's just go ahead and go do this and this and this. Nice. Now that is a nice little handy dandy thing that we're going to be able to use later on to do this, but we also got a whole bunch of sugarcane, of which I would like to go ahead and get planted somewhere. So that does work again. Good deal. All right, you guys can you go? Thank you. And since we have 5 of them, we'll just go ahead and do this. Come on. Hey, let me. I'm being lazy. There we go. Just need a couple of them. There you go. All right, nice. Get me some of these sugar canes going so that they can start growing as we can wait around for things later on. So put that away. And the blaze powder is something we're going to need to use to do some stuff. So let's grab a few of these. I believe we need at least something like that. We'll get some of that going very quickly. And I need to make another one of those probably. Yeah. Let's go and do this, and then you can have some of these. And in part of all of that mess, we managed to get a bunch of decent iron. So iron, basically, we're just going to smelt it right straight off into whatever it should be. And I've already screwed up. Go ahead and cook those up. And go ahead and cook those up. And go ahead and cook those up. Trying to be safe or cheap with my fuel for right now until we can actually start producing some stuff. So I did sieve down a fair amount of gravel, which is where we got almost all of this stuff from. So we've got diamonds and all of this kind of stuff that I probably shouldn't be doing all of that with, but whatever, we can just do it. That way I can kind of do, well, the fun things that exist with this, but we're slowly and surely getting a couple of things that we can use. So I want to make sure we got all those. Sweet berries, I suppose I could probably plant those if I cared. Those should make little bitty plants that we can eat. We'll put those away. And we got a couple other things. I think the bee is either still here or stuck, so I put a flower out here in case he decides to come back. No big deal on that part. All right, so we've got stone cooking. We've got the iron cooking. Let's go ahead and click on sugar canes. We're going to get some bone meal, some paper, a sponge, and a sponge bee egg. I don't know, whatever. This is another thing, too. Thanks to Apotheosis, sugarcane can grow to new heights. They're going to grow more than 3 blocks tall. They're going to grow, like, way up there tall. So if you want to leave them alone, you can leave them alone and they'll grow. Otherwise, break it off as you would normally. Anyhow, we have the next one. So redstone dust, power dust with a redstone lantern. We all know how this all works. And blaze powder. Blaze powder is going to get us another piece of that, plus a whole bunch more dust and some more experience. And the CD place will get us the greenest thumb and a golden egg. Some of these things we will play with later on, and I'm not going to play with them right now because we're trying to get a few things sorted and done. And, well, this makes a nice little red lantern that you can just kind of do that with, whatever. Put this over here. The dust we'll place in here for the time being. What is this? Is it a quartz? It's a quartz shovel, isn't it? Okay, whatever. Interesting. We'll be able to do it. Yes, Certus quartz shovel. All right, nice. So what we're going to do next, I think, given things are moving the way that they're moving, I kind of want to hold off on doing the rolling the river stuff until we can get to the milking the fire thing. So that means we need to make a squeezer, which is just iron and some wood. So get us some iron, and you put all those away. We need 1 block of iron And we need a few stick and some wood. So a couple sticks. And we need a squeezer. All right, cool. Thank you. That should get us a couple of cool things. That'll get us a basic fluid tank and a tank. So squeezer squeezes fluids out of items. Can do so. Can also do other things. We'll automatically place things into a adjacent tanks. So like if we're squeezing something that could possibly have fluids in it, the little lines that are on the side are where it will place things to go. And in order to make this thing function correctly, we're going to need a redstone signal to be able to reset it. I don't know why I do this every time. Get me one of these and one of those. Thank you. Now, for right now, we're just going to use it very, very, very manually. So if I just take, I think it's 4. I think we need 4 pieces of lava or 4 pieces of this stuff. So if I just stand on the edge of this and go boink, 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 as a person, once I get down to the bottom, I step off of it, put it on, and then all you're going to do is reset it. That'll get us a bucket of lava once we get to the end. And we already have the iron. We have the ability. We did get an iron bucket from one of the quests. So if we can get us a full-on bucket of lava, come on. And I think that's all we're going to need. Yeah, one more. Awesome. Okay. Yes, you can automate this. We can do a couple other things. My major interest was being able to do just this. Nice. Now that means I can now produce, well, cobblestone easier than this. So that's nice. I don't mind the problem there, but at least the cobblestone will be easier to maintain and do things with that direction. That means I can build a really, really, really quick cobblestone generator and hammer out some more stuff. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go to work on that. Okay, got us another bucket of water, got us our stuff. I should put these away so that I don't lose it again. We're a mess, and we're going to stay a mess for a while, mainly because of the fact that, I don't tend to be very productive at staying clean until I get an idea of how things go as far as storage. All right, very, very, very simple. Again, this is something that's probably been around for absolutely ever, but what I'm going to do for right now, given the fact that we have pretty much infinite stone pickaxes and infinite oak planks and things, is just something fairly simple. Lava, one source lava block will flow a reasonable distance, so like 7 blocks pretty much. So you can spread it out, you can put it in the middle, and it'll kind of light things up over here. And I've got a little kind of a platform underneath there, so kind of like here, so that when we get ready to turn this thing on, it should work. Water, of course, will flow 8 blocks, so no big deal. If you're going to build this, essentially what we have is a channel between these two that is going to fill up full of lava. These are basically, lava, cobblestone. Dude, you guys are really, 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 really being annoying, and I keep forgetting, where is my thing? Come here, you. Good, you stayed over here. Have this. There. Now I'll deal with you later. Thank you. Anyhow, what we need to do in order to get this started, essentially, like I said, the water falls down in behind this block all the way to the floor down here. The lava falls down to the level of here, where if we look under here, there is a block for the lava to hit and then flow sideways. Now, given the fact that we have the vein miner, or the environmental thingy, whatever it is, all we got to do is do something like this. That water will fall down, and then I do something like this. That lava will fall down and then move over and turn into cobblestone. So then all I have to do is do this, and I can't accidentally break it. And you wear out pickaxes. Boink. One more time. Boink. Okay, cool. Nice. So that got us a little bit of stuff, and somehow we ended up with some cobblestone in there. But at least that'll be a little bit more usable for the moment compared to what we already had before. If I need dirt, I'll do it the other way. But dirt and things, stuff like that, we're going to be able to make a lot of that fairly very soon. Now, why is that important, you ask? Well, it's because that's how I'm going to get cobblestone for a little while and be able to actually work on this platform that we are currently using as a base. I suppose I could move over to iron. The reason why I try to go that far at least is the fact that I can't hit the back of the thing from there. So if we do this, and we can, like I say, we can move towards iron, or we can do whatever. If I want gravel, well, I can just do the exact same thing. Just like that. And they'll put some gravel in here. Now, eventually what we will be doing is we'll be replacing those hoppers if I keep this long enough to matter. We're replacing those hoppers with other things, but at least with that way we can get a little bit more resources, a little bit quicker than what we'd normally be playing around with, given that's how that works. All right, Loot Bee, what are you about, my friend? Occasionally see a loot bee that spawns. They will give you gifts if you stay nearby. However, they may fly off and be lost forever. Please keep them in place. So they also follow you if you hold a poppy. Once they've shed their beautiful delights, you can keep them around for breeding bees and making honey. You have something for me, or did you already drop it? You probably already dropped it, and it fell into the void. What's a beehive take to make? It requires sugar. Really? Sidetrack. Do we have enough sugar cane to make some sugar? I think we do. Yes, nice. Can we get a beehive going for this poor little lad so he can actually hang out and do a few things? I was not planning on doing bees today, but since we have a bee and we have the ability to do a few things, we can at least get some honeycombs going. Cool. What do we got? So campfire, oak planks, honeycomb, and oak expansion box. So this should be seriously the same kind of stuff. Productive bees is in this pack. Okay, I do have some experience with productive bees. Okay, so we need to go right straight into that. What's it take to make an advanced beehive? Its beehive is going to be a campfire, a beehive, and we need a campfire and some obsidian shears and some honeycombs, of which we're going to need somebody to make for us. Where did he go? Why are you stuck down there? I swear, some of these animals are not the smartest in the game. Let's see where we can put this guy down so that he can kind of do some work for us. I believe, even if I just put this down, and I turn him loose, well, there goes my lead. Bye, lead. He'll go in there. Cool. And do a little bit of work for us, I think. Can I use this expansion on this? How many combs did they give us? 2? I knew it. Well, as soon as he comes out of there, we'll be able to do a little bit more work with the bees. That's cool. Bees are going to be something we're definitely going to be messing with because they're going to give us all kinds of really fun stuff. Not bees. Yeah, okay, cool. This chapter, we've got this one going. I made a beehive. I have a bee egg spawn and a glass bottle. Beehive can be crafted with sugar and placed in a planks in order to do this. Vanilla beehives aren't the best home, however, and the bees can easily be disturbed. Attempt to collect honey or honeycomb will anger the bees unless properly smoked. It would be best to upgrade to advanced beehives ASAP. I know. It's cool. What else do we get? Oh, you want to do all of those. There's a whole bunch of on that line. Okay, advanced beehive, yes, and delicious wax. That will give us honey treats. And this. Okay, cool. Again, we're just going to kind of goof around with this pack for a little while. I need to get the resources going, but there are definitely some other things that we can kind of play around with while we're fooling around. I don't mind getting sidetracked as long as that sidetrack means we eventually end up with something usable. You're going to stay in there and dump stuff, aren't you? You were pretty fuzzy, so we'll see how it goes. We'll leave him alone. All right, so we have a reasonably decent cobblestone generator going on for right now, and the next thing I kind of think we're going to play with is we're going to try to use something similar to this to make all of our resources available to us. And that's going to pretty much automate the production of this from that using create, I think. Where is it? Using create in this chapter. So again, they're going to have us look at a few things. They're showing us the millstone, the mechanical bearing, mechanical harvester, all of these fun, cool little toys. One thing that I've noticed in here that they didn't show, and I don't understand it, at least at this point, is something called a drill. This mechanical drill, which is just andesite and iron and an andesite casing, of which I can just craft if I need to. Did he go back in? Good. He's getting some stuff. Nice. We'll leave him just be and do whatever it does. Anyhow, so I don't understand why this is not mentioned. This is not mentioned because this is automatable to work with that stuff. So let's start automating the power pretty much for create, or at least the early power for create, which is going to be kind of, again, moving along this line using water wheels. Now, they're not going to provide us a whole heck of a lot of power, and I do not understand why that's doing that, but they're reasonably cheap to make. They're just, some stuff. Now, we ended up sifting a whole bunch of dirt, which got us a bunch of usable stuff to be able to produce this. So dirt is where we're going to get andesite for a small amount, plus we're also going to get diorite. And if I take diorite and I mix diorite with cobblestone, actually I think it's just this, that will get us a bunch more andesite. And if you mess with andesite, you do, I forget what it is here. It's messed with the, where is it? This stuff, the iron nuggets and wherever our other iron is. If I just take this and I do something kind of like this, I have all the andesite casings or andesite alloys I can stand, which is going to allow me to then make some shafts, which will allow me then to make a cog, which will allow us again to make a big cog, which is fine. And then if we just do something like this twice, so we can have a bunch of them, we can make a water wheel out of this. Nope, not this. This. Go ahead. Nice. So put some of this away that you don't need for the moment. We can just put all of that away. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. The backpack and the oak expansion box. Pretty sure that has to get stuck behind something else, right? Yeah, whatever. We'll put it right there for now. We'll deal with him, like I said, in a future episode. That gets us a single water wheel, which will allow us to get, 4 or 5 more, some more shafts, and something to eat. Now, this is an interesting thing here where you can also place water wheels horizontally and let the water flow around them. This can be a very easy and efficient method to power many sifters at once. The thing about a water wheel is that it's placeable this direction, or it's placeable like this. And if you place the water wheel like this, you can get more of the surface of the water wheel covered with water, which means it spins faster. And some of the things that go with the create mod, at least some of the things that I've noticed at this point, depend on how fast something turns. So let's move a few things out of the way that we don't currently need. I promise we'll fix this all up eventually. I promise. And we need to go ahead and build a system that is going to allow us to utilize these in a fashion that I can kind of work with a little bit easier than what we've got going right now. Now, I'm totally, like I said, this is going to be the first time that I have played with Create. I've figured out a little bit of it. I've kind of messed around with it, and we're going to try to give it a good due diligence as far as things go. I fully understand that I have the access to, gosh darn it, fully understand I have access to stuff like this. As far as moving things around, I fully get the process of some of the other things that are available to us. I think we're going to try to do a little bit more goofing around with just something that I've never played with. I've played with the pipes. I know what they're like. We'll use them eventually. We'll use a lot of this other stuff eventually. This is something that we're going to have to play with. Anyhow, are you doing okay over here, my friend? Yeah, he's making honey. Good deal. We'll have to fool with that. All right, I'm going to have to, again, make some more platform for right now. We're making things very, very, very ugly around here. Alrighty, we have a somewhat of a usable space to kind of play around with. And again, this is totally all temporary. We will start building some really cool, fun things. I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around some of the other stuff that we've not gotten to play with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out how to get a usable amount of kinetic stress capacity energy from these. So if you notice the little button on the bottom where it says small, okay, that's the number of kinetic energy that this thing could make. And if I were able to, I think we can pick this up and look at it. Maybe notice how much kinetic stress impact it will need in order to be able to run it correctly. Now, if I put that back and we grab this thing, it's going to say that it has small as well, which is kind of another one of those deals. However, we're multiplying the force of what we do by using some gear ratio kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting thing to play with. Something of which I am capable of totally grasping the concept of how all this mess works, because one of my favorite things to kind of figure out is this kind of mechanical stuff. So we're going to try to make use of as much of the usable force on the water wheel as we can. And if we hit the W, where it says hold W to ponder, it's going to show us a setup that I want to kind of make a notion of. It says it draws simply right there. You see the four squares where we need to have water touching it, flowing water touching it. Well, the easiest way to do that, from what I can tell, and we'll just look at it very quickly, is something simple like this. We just kind of enclose the water wheel in a little bit of an area, kind of like so, and then you put a block in a corner. And then if I just take a bucket of water and do this with it, it'll spin it as fast as it can spin it. That means we've also got the max amount of power that's available to this particular wheel. If you just kind of stand it up, and I think we can probably, well, it's a mess, but either way, if you just stand it up, we would be kind of making like this then. Let's see about, give me that block back. And if I do this, you'd only be using to there. Now, you should be able to theoretically be able to get it to spin under, like say, if we put it here, it'll go there to there. Notice how fast it's not spinning. Technically, with a little bit of finagling, if you were standing them up straight, you should be able to get this much. But since we're laying them down, we'll be able to get all four sides, which means we should be able to get the max amount of speed out of said water wheel. So anyhow, what we're going to do, this is where the thing where I'm questioning whether or not I'm going to have to dig a little bit further into the mod, is that I want to stack these vertically quite a ways up in the air. And stacking 6 of them is going to get pretty ugly, considering the fact that if I were to place my direct drive, which is what I'm going to use, which is going to be a big cog first, and then I look down, and then I try to look up and place it the same direction, it's not going to place. Well, that one placed correctly. This is a kind of a finicky, fiddly thing that I guess you have to place them all the same direction. Yes, good, awesome, thank you, lovely, cool. I'm glad I've got some extra hearts, because that's going to hurt when we drop down there. Boink, thank you. Okay, cool. We're going to need several buckets of water, because essentially from here on out, what I'm going to do is we're going to just place the water bucket down, and then we're going to somewhat enclose the bottom section of every one of these, holding shift the entire time so that we don't fall down. And then what's going to be interesting is, like, right here, I can break out the power. So, like, say I can borrow that. I don't know where that went. The hoppers on these are a little odd at times. It put it in somewhere up, that's up there, isn't it? Yeah. Whoop, give me that back. But essentially what we can do is we can break the power out right here, and we can break the power out right there, so I can place another cog on either side of this, and then run this out directionally, any direction we need to go, from like this direction or that direction, to make things work. So after this is done, the next step is something kind of a pain in the tail. And I may have to work a little bit harder on this, but because that block is the block that is going to be the one that's going to hold the water back, I guess I can go grab another thing of water. This is going to be where this is going to get a lot along me back and forth hauling things up, because I only have 2 buckets, and I don't want to make any more. But essentially you just do something more like this all the way around the edge, saving your blocks if you want to, and, you know, using your building block of choice. Since that's the block that needs to be placed, that's the one where we put the water in. And then I do the same thing. All right, there we have a reasonably decent tower power. I know it's kind of ugly. We'll work on making everything look better as we go. We're just trying to get our grips about us and get our ways figured that we need to get figured out. So I do have an output right here, because we have that gear that is right there ready to go to work. And we could, just for what it's worth, hook up all of the current sifters that we have. And I believe it had run at least 5, maybe 6. I don't know. I don't have 6 to play with it. The thing is they're still slow. They're still really slow. So let's kind of fiddle around with some mechanical advantage, shall we? First thing we're going to do is we're going to come out of that area with a cogwheel. Well, I want to try to get it to line up somewhat without a wrench and any of the things right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go upward with a big cogwheel. Something probably along the lines of... Can I get it to go? There we go. Now, this is going to be where we're going to start multiplying our speed. Because if you look at it, it's already spinning faster on the outside, and that's what happens. If you spin something like this, the bigger the diameter of whatever it is spins, regardless here, will spin faster on the outside than it spins on the actual internal shaft. So what we can do with that is we can do what's called a little bit of a gear ratio change, or overdrive it. You can also underdrive it. If I were to start down here, like say if this is too fast, I can change this for that, put the big gear down here and then place one of these on here, the smaller ones, and it will go slower. But my interest right now is to make this go a lot faster. There it is, right there. Now look at how fast that one's turning. That one's turning, what is it, double the speed of that, probably. I think if we're even careful, we're going to have to come down so we don't get into the other shaft here, the other gear. We can then take this one, and look at how fast this is running. Okay, cool. Well, we've got some speed going on here, and here's the really fun part. Look at how fast that one's running. You're going, okay, well, Frog, what's going to be good about that? Well, that. I mean, it don't take no rocket scientist, you know, rocket repairman to know that that is considerably faster than what this one over there is running. The only problem is if you decide you want to do something like this, you can only run 3 of them. We lose all of that because of the fact of the gear multiplication or whatever you want to call through all that thing. But like, just really, you know, let me do it this way. Let's grab. Where do I even have a hammer anymore? 1 second. Okay, just as a for funsie, right? Just as a for funsie, we have a little bit of stuff we can hook up. So let's stick 1 andesite mesh on this. And I'm going to do like this. Come up. I don't know why I keep doing that. Do this. And then since we have these fancy hoppers, we can just do something like this. Watch how fast that eats through gravel. Well, that's pretty stinking usable, isn't it? Works really, really well. Well, how can we manage to make this thing work all the time like that? Well, it's, I mean, not necessarily all the time, but something that we can then kind of fiddle around with and play with, and something that I think we're going to do just in a very quick second is we're going to talk about something that is not mentioned, or at least not mentioned from where I can tell. Moving on towards what I want to do. I want to try to do everything that we can do in here that it's necessary using create. Now, that might mean I'm going to have to figure out a way to do a whole lot of these, or we're going to have to start looking at better create power. But like, my biggest issue right now is, you know, the standard old problem. I need lots of iron. I need lots of gold. I need lots of tin. I need lots of copper. I need lots of the things that I'm going to get from sifting gravel. Correct? Where is this button? This stuff. I need a lot of this stuff, and we're able to do it reasonably well with an andesite mesh. The fun thing is we can automate the entirety of this whole thing using create. So by doing so, what we have to do is we have to build a couple of machines. Again, I was asking why there was a thing that was not mentioned at all in the create chapter, and excuse me, I had to make it, is that I don't see anywhere in here that the drill is mentioned. And I guess we can take this, that'll get us some more stuff, plus a nice simple fast hopper. We will mess around with this later. But a mechanical drill is not that expensive. An andesite casing, you know, at first you go, oh goodness, how do you make it? You just basically take a log and you place it on the ground and you do this, and then you hit it with an X, like right click, which will strip the log, and then you take an andesite alloy and you tap it on the thing and you now have a casing. So it's not like it's impossible to make once you get a few things going. A mechanical drill Let's see if we can find a place we can take off of here. Actually, let's just do it like so. If I place that right there and I place the drill facing upwards, and then we break one of these off, our biggest concern is going to be how quickly can it break a cobblestone block. Well, let's put a cobblestone block in front of it. And I think these even have more of a hardness than the regular stuff. Let's get a regular cobblestone block. That's really, really fast for what it is. That's really, really, really fast. So if I then have to be able to say I need to cut a piece of cobblestone up, can I have that stuff, please? And then I need to grind it, well, then we can use a thing called a millstone. Where did I put it? A millstone. A millstone, again, by this time, not very expensive resources. It's just a cogwheel, another andesite casing, and polished stone or stone. Place that down. Well, what this thing will do... Oh, I just made a mess. Should not have made a mess. Let's put the mess away 1 second. Anyhow, so that should work there. Now, we need to be able to get to, like I said, the gravel situation. So essentially what I'm going to do then is... if I were to take something, say like so, we'll just leave that running there so we can verify that on the current gear train with the current power system this will work. This thing takes gravel, or takes cobble, excuse me, right? And turns it into, I think I might have enough gears actually to test this right now, kind of. So if I place that down, and this down, no, that down, thank you. Give me this back. We'll put your little sieve on you so that everything's running. And then all I need to do is just grab another cogwheel so that we can run this around. Love this fiddling around with things on camera. Isn't it amazing and fun? But this is how we come up with ways to build things. So in reality, like I said, that'll break the block you place down. The block can then fall into this hopper being placed into here. So we'll just grab a bunch of cobblestone and watch. Now you'd have obviously you'd have a hopper or something to pull the stuff out of that. But just imagine that pop, 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 pop kind of thing, you know? It would go pretty quickly. It's already done. It was already done with all of that cobble that I just had. So I'm going to really very quickly construct something out here that is just going to do nothing but crank that stuff out. I am going to need to make a clutch, I believe. Clutch. This thing right here so that I can turn it off should I need to be able to turn it off because, well, if this overflows, it's going to become an utter mess. But hey, I'll be right back once we come up with something. All right, that was a yoink and a yoink, but again, it's something fairly simple. So we're just going to have the little machine sit right here that needs to work. We're going to build the exact same kind of a deal with a nice, fresh, empty chest. We're going to crawl up here, and we'll put the lava in place, which I don't know how far I have to go, so I'm going to go like that. And lava goes in there, and we should hear a psst. Nice. So we now have a piece of cobblestone sitting right there. Underneath this block right here is the drill, and that drill is going to drill that cobblestone. That cobblestone is then going to be picked up by the hopper that is underneath the cobblestone, and we have a gearbox behind here. Gearbox are pretty simple, easy to make. It's just some cogwheels and another andesite casing, and to convert it into a vertical one is just a shapeless craft to do something like that. Now, there are some other things that we can kind of play with, but right now we've just got some stuff very, very, very cheap. This is mainly just wood and andesite and iron and stone is pretty much all this all is. So I've gone ahead and moved the gear multiplication system kind of over here. Now, we've got the, like I said, gear into gear, speed up into a gear, speed up into a gear, and if you take a big gear, a little gear, and a big gear, you're basically turning this and this at the same speed. So that's going to run an output shaft into a clutch. That clutch is currently off. That is then going to power a shaft right here that is going to run those two dudes, and it is going to run a shaft up to the top to take care of that thing. So we have a little thing going on here. I'm going to go ahead and, well, find a place to dump most of my inventory. I got to quit pressing that button, just so that this is kind of out of the way. And just go back here and, well, we'll just flick that on. I think, given the amount of time this is going to take, I'm okay with that. If I want to feed it more cobblestone or something else, I can for sure do it. But this is all self-powered. Mechanical. We got another bee friend show up somewhere. We have several bees now. I don't know where the other one went, but whatever. We're gonna have to play with them here shortly. We're kind of full on some stuff, but we're gonna have to make another hive for them all to be fairly nice. I already spoke to you. You need to come back over here, man. Whatever. Anyhow, yeah, I think for right now, I'm gonna call that, and I will see you all in the next one. I know this might have been a little bit of a long one, but we can carry this even further if we really want to with Create. But I think for now, I'm going to let it make a whole bunch of iron and zinc and tin and coal and other things that we may or may not need. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. There, that's a little better. I knew I was off by one thing. That's where I wanted to be powered from. Now it's nice and fast. Yeah, I can deal with that.